Hi everybody, and welcome back to my kitchen. We're going to make something different today, something new. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, so I think I'm going to call it a spinach and chicken Alfredo lasagna. I think that's what I'm going to call it. Now, I got kind of lazy today. I had a lot of other things to do, so I got a rotisserie chicken. And I'm going to write the recipe for this below, which I don't usually do because it's going to get a little confusing. The actual recipe calls for 3 cooked boneless breast halves and to dice them. Well, I'm not a real breast person. I guess I'm odd, but I like the dark meat. So anyway, this is a rotisserie chicken, and I just took the dark meat off of it and a little bit of the light meat, and I put it in this bowl, and in it, let's see what I did with the jar. I put 1 jar of classic Alfredo pasta sauce, and I mixed it up. Then I tasted it, and I said, well, it doesn't have a whole lot of taste to it. So I added about 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, a little bit of salt, not very much, and some pepper. Stirred it up again. It tastes pretty good. Tastes pretty good. Don't over salt it though. Alright, that goes in one bowl. Excuse me. Now in another bowl, this bigger bowl here, it says to add let's see, 2 pints of ricotta cheese. You know what? Ricotta's expensive, and this is nothing but cottage cheese, and it's the small curd. Now, you know, there's 2 cups in a pint, so since it calls for 2 pints, I'm going to put 2 containers of small curd cottage cheese in there. Here's my other one over here. Don't be saying yuck. Trust me, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. This is how I make my lasagna. So, you know, I come from a long line of Italians. I'm not saying they used cottage cheese in their lasagna, but we'll get to that recipe another time. I just thought, well, there's got to be an easier way, because lasagna can be painstakingly long. Alright, so that's my 2 pints. And the actual original recipe called for a 10-ounce box of frozen spinach that you cooked and you squeezed dry, drained it. But I'm not using that because I thought it would be easier to just use fresh spinach. But before I do this, I'm going to add a little bit of, where is it? I'm going to add a little bit more cheese. So I'm going to put some cheese in here. And I'm going to say it's going to add up to about the same, 1/4 cup, if I could keep the lid open. You just want to give it a little flavor. Because remember, you're using Alfredo, and when you buy Alfredo sauce, it's not going to be like home cooked. It just doesn't have the flavor you want. So there's about 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese in here. You could use Parmesan and Romano if you want to, but I'm just using Parmesan right now. Okay. Now it says salt and pepper to taste on this too, so we're going to put a tiny bit of salt in there. And some pepper. You all know I like spice, so I'll probably put more pepper in than you would. Let me get that. Alright, I guess that's enough. You can always salt and pepper your own dish. That's the whole point. Don't salt for everybody else. Just, you know, salt. A little bit of salt. If they want more, they can add it, but you sure don't want to put too much salt in something. It might be too salty for somebody else. Alright. Okay, I'm going to say that's stirred. Okay. Now I'm going to put in the spinach. And since it called for a 10-ounce thing of frozen spinach, I'm using, this is a lot of spinach. I think this is 9 ounces of fresh. I'm going to do my best to get it all mixed up in here, because you know it's going to wilt. Let me get down here. You know it is, so I'm not going to worry about how it looks now. Actually, I could have just spread this in the recipe on top of this mixture, and I might do that with the rest of it. Okay. Now, when I make my regular lasagna, I use regular lasagna noodles. I don't buy the kind that you don't have to cook. But I don't cook them. I don't cook the regular kind, and I'm going to try that in this recipe and hope that it works. If it doesn't work, you'll know to cook your noodles ahead of time. But I'm going to try this an easier way. All right. So that's about as good as I'm going to do it, because I'm positive I can just put the rest of the spinach on top of this and it'll do fine. Now I'm going to move these to the side right now. Here's my baking dish. And here's my lasagna noodles. So I'm gonna, I should have opened this already, sorry about that. I'm going, preheat your oven, did I tell you that? Preheat your oven to 350. This is a 9x13 casserole. And you start putting your, I sprayed this casserole dish. Put your noodles in. Let them overlap a little bit. I'll get one more down there. I'll break one for the end. Okay. Now I'm going to pour all of this Alfredo, the sauce and chicken, a little bit of salt and pepper, and the Alfredo sauce mixture on the bottom. Every bit of it. Let me hurry up here. I got a flavored rotisserie too. It was garlic and herb, or garlic and butter. You know, they've got barbecue, they have traditional, they do have a lemon and herb, but I just chose what I thought would taste best in this casserole. Alright, we're going to spread it around. Don't have to be real particular, but I'm going to get it spread up in here. Try to keep your noodles straight. Now if you were cooking, if you were doing it like the recipe said, these noodles would be cooked and probably wouldn't be moving. But we're going to try this. And just see what happens. Okay. Now, I'm going to put a cup of shredded mozzarella over this chicken. Mixture. I'm just going to eyeball it. Okay, I think that's about a cup. I just hate to see any spots. A little more maybe. Now, I'm going to put another layer of noodles, and I remembered that it was this end that I had to break off a piece. So, I'm going to put my noodles, the straight ones, on this end. Yeah. And I'm going to break off another one. To put at this end. Okay. Now the spinach mixture goes on. This, you know, spinach, cottage cheese, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, some salt, pepper, and that's all that's going into this.